Amazing. Welcome. The last Monday, the last day of the first month of the year. Can you guys believe we have gone through this month already? Um, it's been a really serious month too. So, for everyone who's been watching, thank you and welcome to this week's Groomers Cut. We've got Jennifer Bishop Jenkins with me, Christy Newmeyer Smith, and Mindy Dinwiddie have joined this evening, and we are going to be talking social media. Now, I'm not trying to dig on social media. This is not, I know when we kind of was in our own private chat about how much we disliked it, and a lot of us do dislike it, and I think it's a necessary evil. So, yeah, it's one of those things.
But
if you're
it's
not
changed everything, hasn't it, for us older groomers? And I think I might be the oldest one here. I'm 64, turning 65 this year, right? So, I've been grooming since 1980, 81, off and on, part-time, not full-time. I didn't go full-time until recently, but that is, of all the sea change, in the industry, I've talked about this in a positive way. I'm going to say the positive thing about social media and how it's transformed our industry first. When I was a baby groomer and I was a high school teacher who was showing dogs, and I had summers, weekends, holidays to, showing dogs, and I learned to groom in the dog show world and just started grooming for extra money, evenings, weekends, summers, holidays. And I have to tell you, it was really hard to be a groomer and learn to groom. I got some people to mentor me, but the grooming world was so siloed. People didn't talk to each other. And when I did that article for Groomer to Groomer magazine a couple months back about the All-American Grooming Show, and I think that it was probably one of the fall issues of Groomer to Groomer, and what it was like when the very first trade show started. Again, groomers just didn't talk to each other. Everybody worked out of their home or on their own in a shop. And the amount of isolation that each groomer had was really, really serious. I mean, it held our industry back. And I think that I can, as a historian, as a history teacher, and a person who always, sees things from a historical perspective, that to me, the exact transition to groomers talking to each other more, sharing more education, better information being brought to each other, and more conversation. And yes, there's downside about it. But having social media, the biggest thing for me has been the sea change of connectivity between groomers, where you can talk to groomers anywhere in the world. And so that for me has been a positive. But as a business owner, I get it that I can't do it justice in terms of what it would require to me to do social media right for my business. I know I don't give it the time that I need, and it is a giant time demand as it is. And even at that, I know I'm not giving it nearly enough. So,
well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Yeah. It's not necessarily just focused on it as, because we've talked about it in the past about bringing groomers together and what it does. But I think this particular time and how we started on it last week was to bring up what your ending comment was, that for business, how effective is it? And right. Going back and forth if you have other groomers in your shop or you have other people, are you allowing them to post dogs that they're grooming on their personal pages, on their private pages, or do they have access to your Facebook page? What protocols do you have, or what kind of what's the demand? Because I can go and say, the business that we're just in, we went from a daycare to grooming shop, school, back to a grooming shop, school, now back to the school. And Chrissy's like,
There might be a couple more changes in there. I'm not sure. Sounds like the summary though.
Oh, there goes my camera again. It's like not focusing these last couple times, huh?
It definitely, for me, I have tasked one of my younger staff people, and he's actually not one of the kids on my staff. He's actually one of my oldest child, Max's best friends, Ken. And Ken is a, retired Iraqi war veteran, 6 years in the United States Navy. He's probably late 30s or maybe 40, maybe 40. Oh, no, he just turned 40 this year. But he's my guy on social media, and he does a great job. He's responsible. He's clever. He does, he only posts like maybe a couple of times a month, but they're always kind of cute and staged with cute little themes and clever, like one time when we were first back from the pandemic, he took all of the masking and everything that we were wearing. Remember, we used to, when we first came back to work after the pandemic, we were doing more than just the masks. We were doing plastic shields and all that stuff. So we took 3 of our guys in the plastic shields and had them line up shoulder to shoulder and go like this and be the coat busters instead of the Ghostbusters, right? And he did this very cute with the lettering and called it, 1-800, coat busters. Yeah. And it was just like, he can do clever stuff. So, that.
So, how do you find that you get a lot of traffic? Are a lot of your clients on your social media page? No. How about Chrissy?
I do.
You do?
Because that's like, between that and Google, the amount of people that they read the reviews on those, that's what I find they do more of. It's not to go to your page and look at, through your page and stuff, but I see them more going to your page for reading the reviews that other people have given you.
Yeah. I find our Google page is a lot more efficient and effective than the Facebook or Instagram.
I've taken my Instagram, and the only reason we even have an Instagram account, and again, we only maybe post once a month, is that it feeds directly onto a place on our website. So we can kind of quickly update cute little things, holiday things, whatever seasonal things, and we can use our Instagram account and just have that appear right on our website without having to go in and make a website change. So that's actually been, I think, very helpful. But we don't use our Twitter at all.
I don't even have a Twitter.
And our Facebook does get a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that follow us. I'll get 100 likes from a post, but it's not, I don't know that it drives our business. I don't think we're getting new clients for it.
Okay. I looked into various ways of starting like a social media presence and, the kind of time commitment you should expect to do, and decided it wasn't cost effective for me because I was just going to stress myself out trying to come up with 4 different topics or pictures, and that's even different if you're talking about things like TikTok, which would be like a little micro video, some little hot tip or something. Because what I was worried about, and maybe I'm totally wrong on this, but what I was worried about is that if you start building a presence and then drop off the face of the earth, does that then look like, oh, maybe they're not in business anymore? So I was like, well, I don't know if I want to commit to that, and so I'm like, I pared it down. And then also with my house call business, which is 3 days a week, like that's a small clientele. I felt like it would be like someone at some point is going to be like, is this the same 10 dogs? Yeah. Instagram anything but these 10 dogs.
Yeah.
So I just felt like it would be.
That's what I was going to ask you, is how you were managing that. Cause I know you post a lot more frequently on your podcast, but so I do now. What about training though? Your training is because that's kind of separate from the house call practice too, even though it's the same business.
Yeah, dog training is always trying to find new people. And since I started teaching at the school and then doing the online classes and my 3 days a week with my grooming customers, I kind of went, If they find me, I will, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Like, a little overwhelmed. But I do use social media for my podcast, and each week when I set up a new episode, I put something out. And what I found for that was that the hashtags are what really get me new listeners. Hashtagging on Instagram got me more listeners than anything else really has, because now anybody
Yeah.
who looks up hashtag dog grooming and training or whatever it is also going
You
to see
pop
my
up.
post. So I don't make great use of it though. I should have pictures up and stuff, and instead it just looks very bland. But it did drive a bunch of listeners.
I want to tell you about if you guys are looking for a good role model in how to really, like, I mean, you got in the grooming industry people like Jess Rona and people like that have built their careers off of their social media presence, primarily even to other groomers, just as, you know, grooming educator or something. I don't know how you would have time to do that and, you know, groom dogs all day long. But I had an employee, and he was a good groomer when he came to me. He was a great groomer when he left me. His name was Danny. And he's in the Chicago area, and he's on Facebook and on social media as Danny the Groomer. And I would just refer you to him, especially if you're a Spanish speaker. He is bilingual, but is Hispanic and does a lot of his stuff in social media. And he went, after he left me, he went and opened a shop near the city of Chicago. And he built a social media empire in grooming. He does live broadcasting every day. He has funny, entertaining stuff, clever graphics. He is a huge social media presence. He has like 1 million followers in like Mexico and all over the place. And he does educational stuff, and he does funny stuff. He does personal stuff. But he is just a master at it. And he's a good example of somebody that if you've got that, you know, you're willing to hold that selfie photo and do the, you know, dazzling personality stuff, which he does so well. It has built him a very successful business. And I know he built a lot of his
But
business.
what's his business model?
He has a grooming shop, you know, in Cicero, Illinois. So, and he is doing very, very well. And he literally was booked out solid within a week of opening, even though he didn't do any other advertising. He just did social media. That's all he did. He didn't even have a website. So his website is, you know, is Facebook and stuff. So, I mean,
So he's a, I can't think of the word, what they call him.
Influencer?
Influencer. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's very good at it because he used to actually work when he was younger. He actually did some acting and some behind the scenes production work in Hispanic cop dramas or something. I don't, you know, he's been involved in media before. So he's a professional. He's very professional in media. But, you know, I think it's a generation.
But like Chrissy said, though, that's something that once you start, there's no going back. People,
time consuming.
People expect that, they want that, and then when you let them down that once, that's all it takes to start that turn. And that really is for a working individual, you know, that's not the norm.
I think it's a generational thing. I think that people who are you know, under 40 are going to be a lot more driven by I asked him about this, you know, what's the age demographic. My clientele, and I'm in a very high-end suburb, $10 million houses around me, not all of them, but some of them, and it's a very nice area. And most of my clients, it's all word of mouth. There is one Facebook group called North Shore Moms, which is a suburban mom, you know, chat thing, and there's also the Nextdoor app. I get as much business off of Nextdoor app and the North Shore Moms Facebook account referring people to me as I think I do through any efforts of my own.
I've not used. Have you guys ever tried that one? The app
Nextdoor?
Yeah.
No. Any of those apps, I find that I spent so much time fielding questions with people who were never going to become customers. But I was like, because they're looking for like, I need a dog grooming appointment Tuesday at 2. And I'm like, I need to know where you live, how we're going to set up. Like, I'm not just going to drive to your house at 2 o'clock on Tuesday and then meet you and find out your name, you know? So it ended up being this huge time suck.
That
but
does,
it's very
again, you're
specific for
very
these types of business.
specialized. Yeah.
Yeah, you do house call grooming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a website?
I do have a website, but I get most of my customers, honestly, through my own customers, through my vet, through other groomers and other trainers, you know? But
Well, again,
I find
'cause
that my
you're
customers love seeing
specialized.
pictures of their dogs. So,
They
you know,
do.
once in a while when I remember to put up pictures, they're thrilled and they share them. But I don't know if I ever really I tried it for a while and I don't know if I really got any customers from that, from trying to post pictures.
I think Angie's going to try to make an appearance on, because her social media is huge, and her customers, again, expect it. And she said it last week. If she doesn't post the day pictures by 8 o'clock that night, they're like, where's my picture? And she gets calls and texts and emails, and
but
she's like,
at this point,
I'm getting it
she's
up.
also full and booked way out in advance. So now she's continuing it for the joy of continuing it, which is awesome. But if it brings you no joy, you know.
If it's more work or chore than it is part of, you know, like I do like creating go ahead, Mindy.
Well, when I first started, I posted all the time. I really, you know, faithfully, I posted the dogs and everything. And then as you start to grow and your time gets more, you know, the grooming process and, you know, working and everything gets more overwhelming, you tend to post less and less. And because I mean, that's when you're first starting out, nobody knows who you are around, you know, around the area and stuff. I really do think that they go and look for, well, what does this person do? But as you have that word of mouth built up, I don't think they really use it as much because, you know, in our training, well, in a previous job training, we learned that, you know, the best form of identification or anything like that is personal knowledge. So when you have somebody who has personal knowledge of the grooms that you do compared to, you know, pictures on a website, because let's be honest, pictures can be photoshopped.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, so how much faith do people really put in those pictures that people are posting?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm a perfectionist, so anything that I'm like, oh, can I put that up? No, why does it look like the grooming arms jutting out of his hip? Never mind. And you know, like, I just take pictures with this critical eye that no one else is going to notice that like one toe looks like it's got a piece of fuzz, but I notice it. It drives me crazy.
No, I think, Mindy, you're right. I think it's pretty essential if you're going to start up a business brand new and you're trying to build a clientele. But, you know, I think it's just sort of maintenance right now. I agree. You know, when you were describing your journey with it, it's almost the same as mine. It was really important the first couple of years, and then it's just not so important now because now people are waiting in line to get in, and you know, word of mouth does take over in your area, and that's a really good thing. But it depends on what, you know, what you're selling, what you're marketing, what your business is. And I think that it is here's the one thing I would say to all of the young people out there that are, you know, very savvy, much more savvy than I am with all the social media. But the one thing that as a, you know, career teacher and, you know, as a parent and as a person who works with young people all the time, the one thing I wish I could communicate the importance of to every young person out there is to remember that everything you put on social media is out there permanently for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Okay. And that means that you can't take it back.
Yep. And it will be scrutinized.
And so one of the things
No matter what age you
I know.
are, it could come back and haunt you.
every single thing you've ever
Yeah.
put out there, I don't care if you were just having a bad moment and trying to laugh at a dirty joke with
Yeah.
somebody, you cannot erase that. And it is your public image. I mean, that is your PR. And if you ever, like me in my, around the age of 50, deciding to run for office, every single thing you've ever done is scrutinized. Or if you decide to, which I did, I ran for Cook County Board in 2010. And that was a huge, huge 2-year process running for office. But, if you ever wanted to, you don't know if you're in your 20s and you're pumping out all of this weird and funny and, quirky or whatever social media that you're doing, but you don't know what you're going to be doing when you're 50. You might be a parent, you might be an author, you might become an actress and end up on television. You never know what's going to happen with you 30 years down the road. Mm-hmm. And every single thing that you do on social media matters. So I just urge everybody to be clever, have fun with it. You can do all sorts of creative things, but don't violate the rules of good taste, because you will regret it. It will only be a matter of time.
Melinda kind of said that too. She said she utilizes Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and a Google page, and that she's careful about how she presents herself as a professional. And that includes all of her interactions on the private groomer groups.
Yes.
That's the one that's pretty scary. That's kind of why, you guys all know, I took myself, I'm not in any of them anymore. Like, it's just, to me, it's so much that it was draining. It was emotionally draining to be in those private groomer groups. And I was like, my life, because it's so hard to see so many people, just the nonstop bashing.
Yeah. And the thing is on social media, it is so easy. We, in one of the classes that I teach, we talk about getting sucked in. Okay. And getting sucked in is when somebody is, trying to badger you on to get you to say things that you wouldn't say. Mm-hmm. They just get you so frustrated that it just, you
throw it up.
Yeah.
And in social media, it's so much easier to do because it's faceless.
Oh, I know.
It's
That's dangerous. People get bold and say stuff they should not.
Exactly. It's a screen. It's not, you're not seeing a face. So when things that you would not say to somebody's face, you have no problem typing out.
And there seems
to be some people that get off
reviews. Reviews are the same thing when you're doing these Google reviews and these Facebook reviews. Again, it's faceless, and people go and just throw it out there so harshly and don't think about how they're presenting themselves. And then we go back to try to respond to them. And sometimes it comes across just as a reattack, or it can, it's like texting. You don't know how that other person is going to take it.
Or how they're going, that are they going to take it the way you meant it?
Right.
I've had a lot of fights over text.
I always run it through the filter. Is it helpful or is it kind? And then
say that again, Chrissy.
Tell someone like, oh no, that your information is outdated. Let me tell you why. If I'm trying to be helpful and kind, but otherwise, you don't have to answer everything. Yeah. You just don't have to.
No, it's so true. Yeah. And Lisa Herbold, my superhero in the chat room, Lisa Herbold, you are my superhero, Lisa. She says, and one wrong move and comment and you get roasted, people can go crazy. And that's really true. Yeah. It's like people, there are some people that have, I guess, very boring lives or something, and they get their jollies from fighting in that. But I love what you said, Kathy Clark Gonzalez, in the.
I was just going over there
love
to
that.
hers. Yeah, she said, I'll post it since you.
Yeah, she says
Show it.
there's a
There
difference
we go.
between wanting to monetize and basically using social media to be an influencer in addition to grooming, or using social media as essentially your website. Now there's a big there's a ton of groomers out there. I was shocked, actually. Ton of groomers that only have Facebook pages as their websites.
Yeah.
So
So I did a little digging this week myself, and I went local. I stayed in just because I know the area, and I will be honest, I did not look at any grooming shops. I looked at other businesses only because there's a lot more of them, especially like in our area, restaurants and shopping. So I kind of looked at small local, and then some of the more local chains that we have. And I noticed that the smaller businesses, especially in our downtown area, tend to be a little bit more active on their Facebook, but they don't have the websites. Their websites are very short, small, and just the minimum. I did see a lot of the long-time shops that have been downtown for longer periods of time have very inactive pages, and that they had older reviews and older, their last posts weren't back for years. And, you know, to me, that just keeping those up just cause it actually turned me off to wanting to go to those shops, because I'm like, they can't keep that updated. I don't want to shop at a place that's not updated, and that they're not constantly doing new. So it was interesting, and I just did that just to see what my reaction was going to be, and how I would how it affected my shopping. And yeah, I was like, nah, I don't want to go to that place. You know, they don't have old pictures. They don't have, and you know, they didn't have bad reviews or negative reviews. They just didn't have any new reviews. I don't want to go back and see reviews from 5 years ago and not anything updated. I'd rather see a couple negative reviews than seeing none.
See, I'd rather, if it's a website like that, I'd rather see nothing dated and just have it be like a brochure. You know, like, you know,
Right.
some websites are just a brochure looking thing, than something that looks like it got dropped 5 years ago and hasn't been
These
touched
were
since.
Facebook pages that I was looking at, not websites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were Facebook pages. They weren't websites, because most of them didn't even have a website.
Well, see, and the thing is because I've actually thought about this. You can actually hire people
yes.
to keep your page fresh.
Yeah.
One that is a groomer is she's the social media groomer, and her last name's Cole. But
Drawing a blank.
Drawing a blank.
I think I know who you mean.
But you can actually hire her, and she will keep your social media and stuff. She'll post a couple times a week and, you know, keep it fresh. But it's not going to be personalized, though.
Quincy
Groomer
Cole
Jen
in
says
Utah?
it's Quincy Cole in Utah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Does anybody viewer land have you guys used her, watched her? Let's get her on.
If you want to continue this next week, I will contact her.
Yeah.
We've got a
let's get
Facebook
her
user
on.
in the chat room who is from rural Alabama that said that all of the groomers in her rural Alabama area are all using the social media as their websites.
Yeah.
Because it's free, and she said she has a website has less time demand for service-oriented businesses as opposed to social media. It's easier to keep up on, but I'm older. Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, and I
Well,
think
I
it
think what you
depends
have to look at
on.
too.
Sorry. I was just going to say, it depends on your demographics. If
Right.
you have an older clientele, they're not going to be on social media and they're going to be looking for a website. So there's nothing wrong with having a small little website that you're not paying a lot of money for if it's not an interactive one. And they are pretty easy to do. To keep them, especially on like Wix. Wix is pretty easy. I think there's some other ones you just pick your template and go. But you can use your Google as a free website too, because it's another website page. And so if you build your Google website, that's basically you're driving traffic to your website right off of Google.
Do you mean your Google business page? Is that what you're
Yep.
talking about? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can. That business page is a website. You can
Yeah,
pay.
but you know what I
to
find
have it-
frustrating about the Google business page is that you can't, like, okay, just for example, where I
Yep.
post my hours, okay?
Mhm.
There's no option for me to say until 8 a.m. till the last dog is done. It says you have to say 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, or they didn't even let you go 8 to 4:30. Okay, there's
Right,
no
but
option.
You can create it on the website.
Oh, I will have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, so you have to go because there is an actual website and you can write in all your information. You can write your services in and you can take appointments right on it.
And
It's
how does
right-
one find this website, Miss
It's-
Dara?
Okay. Oh boy. I might try to share screen here because I don't think it's something we've done. So let me open up because it's under.
So Google gives you a free website, not just
Yup.
a Google business page.
All right. So let me see if I can do this and how this is going to work.
Wow.
I'm going to share my screen.
Am I the only person that's never heard of this?
I haven't done much with mine, but
Ooh.
I haven't been
So,
taking new
wow,
customers
look
in a
at
while.
that. I'm not sure. That doesn't look good, does it?
We're into infinity with ourselves.
I know. That's
This is us going into
creepy.
infinity.
I'm gonna stop that. Okay. So, yeah, that's not gonna work. I have to do that was
We'll
really
keep breaking up. Sorry.
Now, Steve,
G-O-G-L. We'll just start spelling it.
okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
talking
So,
about Google and stuff. Now let's
Yes.
get on to Yelp.
oh,
Yeah.
no, we'll come back to Yelp in a minute.
Well,
But I
Yelp
just want to
is
go.
like,
So Jennifer, really quick, when you
Yeah.
go on, it's your Google Business. You have to go into Business Profile Manager.
Business profile manager. Okay.
Yeah, and you have posts, information. You can see your insights, your reviews. You can create messages, add photos, and then there's a tab at the bottom. You can have users, and there's a tab at the almost all the way down that says website, and you can create your free website right there.
Okay. I thank you. Wow. Well, I mean,
Yep.
everybody needs to take your business classes, Dara, but that's a whole other conversation.
So thank you. Yeah, Groomer Jen said Quincy will be at the Teton Grooming Expo. She's doing a class there.
Yay.
So if I'll write this down, Google. If you're asking about the Google and you haven't done that, send me a message. I can help and talk you through it. There I go. I'm zooming in and out. Kathy, you guys keep waking up my Google Home. Is that a good thing that we're waking up your Google Home?
you would be doing it at my house, but I'm at the top.
So I think what's really important when we're talking about the social media presence, though, is what kind of customer are you looking for? Because if you are looking for professionals in their 20s and 30s, busy professionals in their 20s and 30s, you might find that that's a particular group, that's a particular format that they're using. They may be TikTok, they may be, Instagram, they may never be on Facebook anymore. But to kind of have an idea in your head, instead of just, what if I throw out a whole bunch of pictures and just put more stuff up, but to really focus in on who you want to attract. For my own business, I really love those like 20 somethings and 30 somethings who, they know how to pay through an app, they aren't trying to write me checks. I really like them.
Yeah,
And,
they want to tap.
Yeah. So if I were trying to attract them outside of just through direct referrals, but I would be, asking them directly, what kind of social media do you use when you're looking for new business?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just flying blind. You could be just
Mhm.
it's just hoping for the best and putting out pictures.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What do you think about Yelp?
Can I say something about Yelp? Okay.
Besides
I mean,
that, it's
you know,
scary.
I thought I could open a can of worms here.
It is.
Not a fan.
Okay. So for one thing, Yelp they are very savvy business people. They kind of started the online review beast, and now other people have picked it up. So now they're not the only ones, but they actually pressure people, businesses. I just want to warn business owners, especially if you're new to the business, opening a grooming business, that you will get pressure from Yelp to pay them to manage your review presence online, and they will kind of imply that if you don't subscribe for this $500 package or this $1,500 package, that it could really hurt you online reviews and stuff like that. Don't buy it.
They're basically
Don't.
the online Better Business Bureau.
They're the online what?
Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
Well, they like to think they are. I don't know. I think what I have heard in terms of Yelp salespeople calling your shop over and over again when you first open up, I just kept saying no. And they finally stopped calling me. But for like the first 2 years I was open, I got calls every week from salespeople from Yelp. So there's a lot of high pressure from Yelp, I think, to pay for their professional management of your presence. And I don't think it's necessary. I think the main thing is, if you get a negative review on Yelp or any place else, I think you educationally and professionally respond to it.
But that's the thing on Yelp. You can't on Yelp.
Yes, you
cannot respond to a review.
You cannot respond. But what you can
I do. I have. What do you mean? I've done that on Yelp.
Not on Yelp. Usually you can't.
Yeah.
They won't let you do that. You have
Has it changed? I haven't done it in a couple of years, but I did
You
it a
have
lot.
to claim the minute you claim the business, that's when it goes. I never claimed it, and then if I got a couple reviews, and I called Yelp and said, I don't want it, take it down, and they took the entire business off because I didn't want to be on Yelp.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can do that with Google too. You do not have to have a Google presence. If you don't claim the business, you don't have to go through all that and have that. But people look for that. Yeah, Kathy said Home Advisor, Angie's List are very pushy. Angie's List kind of started that. But again,
I started Angie's List at one point. Yeah, I started Angie's List at one point because one of my customers is like, I use Angie's List all the time. I want to write you a review. So I jumped through hoops, did Angie's List. They wouldn't let her review go through because who gets a 5-star review? We don't know who at your business is. I'm like, what, do I need to have a 1-star review before I can be recognized as a business on Angie's List? I'm like, okay.
See, I don't know about, I have responded to reviews on Yelp. And so I don't know if they
claim the business.
Yeah, maybe I did. I don't remember. I probably did.
And I refused to claim the business. And because mostly people going on Yelp, no, they're looking for negative. That whole site is
it's very negative. I agree.
Towards negative reviews. And so I just called them. It took forever to find the number, but I was like, take it down. I don't want it. I never approved. I didn't allow you to put that up there. I don't have a website with you. I don't do any advertising with you. You can't have my business. And so they pulled the entire thing down. Now that was a few years ago, and I don't know if they put it back or what, but I've not looked, nor will I ever go look at it. But Google is the exact same way. You claim that business, you get that postcard in the mail, and that's your business, and you're accountable for everything once you claim that.
Yeah, I have to say I've been in business for 7.5 years. And I feel like the first half of the time I've been open, I was getting inundated by calls by people, Google, Yelp, Angie's List, all that stuff, trying to sell me online management of my information. And I just, kept saying no, and then telling my reception staff, just hang up on them. And so finally, I think it's finally stopped. It's finally slowed down and stopped.
But it's still easier and more efficient than trying to do the yellow pages or the
Which is
newspaper. Because when I started mine, it was
Do
yellow
they even make
pages
those anymore?
and newspaper, and that was in 2000, and like at least now we can kind of get in front of an audience that we actually are interested in,
Yeah.
and give them kind of a behind the scenes view of what we do, which is the purpose.
Yes.
Is to make them feel comfortable with what we do, give them the behind the scenes, whether that be tidbits of information or pictures or a photo gallery or whatever. But I mean, there are lots of ways to do that now, but initially it was sort of like, who do you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, like just having a Facebook page as opposed to a interactive Facebook page, which is more like, people can chat and post and things like that. Just having your, Facebook page, not a interactive page. You can just use it like a website. Absolutely. You can put out positive, you can manage your presentation. You can show pictures of good work. You can show your shop at its absolute cleanest. You can,
show it at its dirtiest.
Yeah.
Well, there's some groomers that just use it as a live all day long while they're grooming.
I know. How do they do that? I'm impressed by people who can do Facebook Live all day while they're grooming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to be careful with that because again, if
I agree.
people get on that aren't knowledgeable about you or what you do, especially in our industry, and they take just the picture, even people walking in and seeing what was it one day, Christy? We had somebody who thought that one of the groomers was hitting the dog with the brush.
Oh, yeah. They looked at the groomer who was, quickly brushing a tail. But it's a tail, and quickly brushing, pinched off the hair and.
She's trying to pull through a mat or something.
Smacky, smack. And
wow.
We're like,
thought they were. And we had to go out and do damage control on that because they were totally mortified. And it's like, no, that's not happening. Or some people come in and see the grooming loops and think we're choking out the dogs.
Yeah.
That's been so you really, really have to be careful with the presentation of what you're showing in pictures and how you want that to be portrayed as well. Not just, is there a digit on the toenail missing or a little fluff buff there, but those other things that people are going to look at and go, you're choking.
Well, I find too that we have to be really careful about our before and after pictures and our during pictures, that we aren't customer shaming. Because I think that's really important.
Yep.
If we're going to show pictures of like matting just for educational purposes, show the matting, but not the entire dog. Don't let it be so obvious that like, I think that's my neighbor Sandra's dog. We want to,
look at the horrible condition she brought that dog in.
Especially
I don't really like doing before and after pictures if it's an extreme makeover, because it just feels like that I'm kind of telling that owner like, wow, your dog looked terrible. Who does that? But now he's okay, and I just don't think it's a good message for us really to be sending. It doesn't really help anybody.
I saw a spoof off on, and it took me even a minute myself to recognize it, but it was on, it was on Instagram. I'm one of those scroll through. Okay, done for the day. And, it was an old English sheepdog getting brushed down. And then in the caption, it said, Mom wanted a real haircut. And then it was like a dog shaved with a 7. And it looked like it was a doodle, but it was so quick. I'm like, I had to watch it a couple times and be like, oh my God. But they were, it was, I think it was a grooming shop. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I was just like, oh my God. See, now, if my clientele got that, they wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in, this is Latifa.
Hi, how are you? Sorry I'm late. I just got out of class.
Welcome, welcome.
Latifah's just wrapping up her diploma program, her 4-month for the animal communication. So I think, did you say you
Yay.
have one more? Tonight was the last class, and then you've got the project graduation class
Wednesday will be last class. Yeah.
Wednesday. So yeah. But Latifah's got a really strong presence on social media, which is why I wanted to get her in here, because I mean, really, that's how you really are very social media driven.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of the Instagram and all the Twitter and all that stuff like I'm supposed to. A lot of my social media is really Facebook. And I have a huge following out on the Facebook. I'm really trying to start a podcast and like that. But
you can talk to Christy. She's really good at those.
Chrissy has like 1 million listeners now.
No, but I hit on 100,000.
100,000
this week.
Yep.
okay.
152 episodes in 3 years.
So we're going to hook up because I'm like, what's a podcast and how do I do that?
I'm happy to help you with that.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So yeah. But I'm sort of, and even YouTube. I mean, I've got stuff out there, but I'm surprised. Facebook still seems to be the number one place. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just easy. Yeah.
yeah, it's just easy. And I mean, somebody the other day was like, I'm getting ready to do some advertising for the Academy and I've got people working on an ad for the
So she's doing the campaigns and
and so
works with people to help campaign her too.
yes, and these guys do marketing. That's all they do is professional marketing. So I've got them working on a campaign for this course, and they're like, "Oh my God, you have like 10,000 likes." I'm like, "Is that good?"
That's very good.
Yeah, and they're like, "How many did you buy?" And I'm like, "You can buy a like." So
You can buy likes. Yep.
Wow.
So I'm like, I used to have somebody else who did a lot of that for me. Number one, it's so time consuming. And so, man, you got to know your ins and outs. But I still, as much as I don't like social media, you have to be there. You just have to have the presence on there or you just don't get seen. But YouTube is huge. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Those seem to be the 4 that people really gravitate to and people really spend their time browsing, going through, liking.
Yeah. So I just pulled up Latifah's Facebook pages. She's got over 3,000 friends on your page. And then on your Animals Can Talk, you have 9,000 followers.
Yeah, it's like, it's big. But it's been how many years now, though? It's been 16 years, 17, 16, 17
Yeah,
years.
but not since you've really, let me see. Hold on. Now I'm going to go figure this out and see how long
Okay.
it's actually been on.
So, see, now the thing is, okay, because I made the mistake, and I don't know about you, but I made the mistake when I first started, becoming, the speaker and everything. And because I have like 3,000.1 something on
You
my,
have a lot of followers on yours too, Mindy. Yep.
and
Is this followers on a page or friends on a Facebook?
friends on Facebook.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm talking. I made the mistake when I first started, instead of making me a professional speaker page that people could just go follow, they were getting added to my personal page.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
that's
made that mistake
the
too, and I'm
mistake.
kind of wishing I could go back and fix
Me
that.
too, because I have that professional page now, but I already have I have 3,000 people on my personal page.
Yeah.
And I use both. And this is a big boo-boo, and
Me too.
I've done it for years. Whatever I post on the personal, if it's personal, like, personal, not about my business, I'll put it on my personal. But if it's business related, I post on both. I post it on my personal and I post it out on my professional. And
but do you do it on your business first and then share it to your personal so that people can share it?
Nope, I
No.
post
Okay.
individually on both.
I don't.
See, I take and I post it and I put it on my personal. Then I go to edit. I copy the whole thing. I copy it. I go over to my professional page and publish it, a brand new listing there. I post separately identical things on both pages.
Both pages.
When it's business related. And so far, is that me? Who
No,
is that?
that's me.
Oh, it's scaring the shit out of me.
I've got a little heater in a very cold room in here.
Okay. I'm like, what is beeping?
Beep, beep.
So
You're the psychic. You're supposed to know these things.
I'm not. It's probably a no to do that. But in 17 years, I've never had Facebook say, "Hey, don't do that."
So when
they're not
when
going
I
to.
post about my podcast, I post it to the podcast page, the podcast group, and then usually there are a couple other places I post it to. Once in a while, I put it on my personal page because I am friends with so many people that I'm like, hey, just throwing it out there in case you're a groomer who doesn't know, I happen to have this podcast.
Yeah.
But they actually say that that's better than just continuing to reshare, but to actually post them as their own separate posts.
Oh, really?
And I do the same
Really?
post for Instagram,
Yeah.
except that Instagram has the hashtags with it.
Right.
And I suppose
So
if I got involved with TikTok,
What's
I
the
would do the
benefit
same
of
way.
posting a separate individual post? Because I have a
Yeah.
Facebook page, a public page that I rarely do anything other than announce speaking events on. And I have tons of groomers that are asking to friend me on Facebook that I've never met in person. And I'm kind of, it's fine. I'm not that controversial, but if they are friends on my personal page, they're going to get my politics too.
So
Well,
see, that's
and they
what
may not
I've
want
done.
that.
And I think
They're going to get my crazy
Mindy-
sense of humor.
I think Mindy, that's kind of what you were saying was, and what I did when I was really active speaking is I personally,
Didn't separate
and this is
it.
me personally, I do not want people that I am not 100% friends with on my personal page. If I don't know you, you don't need to be in my private life. Because my life is separate from the speaking life. My life is separate from my business life.
Now,
If you want, I deleted every single, sorry to all you viewers out there, if you were my friend once and you're like, oh my God, you deleted me. Yes, I did. Find me on the Pet Pro Educators. Find me on, because I don't. And you know why? Because I don't want to see their stuff. No offense to any of you, but I don't want to see your stuff because if you're not part of my life actively,
It's very time consuming.
I don't need to see your stuff. So that's why I did that. And if you want to find me on my profile, my other business pages.
and I mean, that's kind of, it's for all those people who are going to be starting something like this. I strongly encourage you to
Separate
make a profile as a public person,
Right.
and use that for anybody that is not like that, your personal friend.
Somebody you know in
You
real
know
life.
it
Yes.
very well to push them towards that. Now, the other thing with that though is that when you start that too and you separate it, the one thing I was smart about that I did not do is add clients to my personal page. That
I don't have any clients on my personal page. Colleagues and other groomers and other trainers and stuff, yeah, but no customers.
I'm the bad apple. I have everybody on everything. So
you do, but Latifah, again, when you started, because you're going back, and you're going back right to almost when Facebook really was just starting to pick up, and that was before any of us really got active in it. So that's everything has built and changed so much.
Mhm.
The best thing you could do at this point is put your personal page that you have and connect it with your Animals Can Talk, because you can blend them and start a brand new private
You can
for
blend them.
yourself. Mhm.
You can blend
Yep.
your personal page and your professional page.
If you turn it into a page, you can turn yourself into a page, and you should be able to blend them.
Okay,
I'm not
next time I
interested.
come up to you, you're showing me how to do that.
Me too.
That's
Get me
an
in
option
line,
then,
Dara.
you know?
Private
Oh,
lesson, please.
Because then
Sorry.
friends from other hobbies can be part of a different, whole
I
different
told
name.
you I was going to be researching this stuff this week, didn't I?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, Dara, I'm serious. I may actually really ask you to help me with that. That would be
Because
because I'm in the same boat as Latifa. I'm kind of duplicating stuff and
yes,
I at this point in my life, especially because I'm moving more towards physical retirement from grooming in my shop and more teaching, I think I just want the public page kind of thing, and I don't really want. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
wow, yeah, that would probably be a really cool thing to take for me, blend them, and then start my own personal, super private, like Dara does. If I don't know
Yeah.
you, you're in my personal.
Yep. I have like
Exactly.
120 something people
Yeah.
and that's the way I want it. I don't want any more. And then I look at it, and I actually do this every 3 months. I'm like, delete.
Every couple
I'm
of
reading-
months,
I'm
she's
reading
like, stuff. I don't want her anymore.
Kathy Clark Gonzalez in the chat room has said, you all are getting a duplicate profiles friend request tonight. I don't have.
Looking forward to it, Kathy. I will be friends with you. Well, I think some of it too is how much of your personal life do you post? You know, and I don't really post anything that I don't care about the world knowing. You know, and it's not like I'm showing my address. It's not like I'm showing anything that I'm worried about. And you know, if people are offended that I sword fight once in a while, or that I
You
have
go
weird
screaming
hobbies,
across a
then they can be
battlefield.
offended, but I'm not
And-
worried about it.
Jennifer, when you said that, people on your personal get your political stuff,
Because I've run for office, I'm very involved in advocacy.
Oh, got it.
So, and I'm a Democrat. So if you love Donald Trump, don't friend request me on Facebook. But I definitely respect all points of view, and I definitely have. If people, if people friend request me at this point, I've been doing that. But I actually think, just as I'm moving towards retirement, I want to think about. I love your idea, Dara, of merging that public page, and I really, I think
Definitely,
it's
we're
kind
doing that.
of got out of hand,
I do not put, even on my personal page, I do not put my personal views about anything, because I know that it is so freaking political out there, and you say the wrong thing about something, and then you get in a fight with and it's like, I don't even do that. I don't even post personal things very often, unless it's truly, well, like I made a post this weekend and it was personal, but I don't talk about, oh, I took Mocha today and we did this, or, oh, I went to see this person, or blah. I don't share the personal part of me on the personal page because of that, because I know it goes to so many people, so many clients. I just don't do that.
And I agree with that. But I also would like to, because I don't know, some of you know that I have custody of my 4 grandkids, and that one of them.
Wow, I can't believe you got grandkids.
And one of them in May had a brain tumor.
Oh no.
Oh.
And so I was in the hospital with him for several weeks, and it would have been nice to be able to keep family and personal friends updated through Facebook at one time, than trying to play phone tag and, and do, all
Yep.
these individual updates, do one update for everybody. But I wasn't able to do that because I do have all 3,000 people on my Facebook.
You
So
can create a group for that though.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Make a
Yeah.
group on Facebook with just the family members.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
but
done that for
groups
my
are
family.
hard
That's still
too, though.
time consuming.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's easy to make a post and it goes out versus creating the group, because when you create the group and send 300 people an invite to the family group, I mean it can be time consuming, but it's so much. And I can make the group private. I do that for my students. So I'll make a private Facebook group. And when we're going through the 4-month class, you need something or we're chatting, it's a private group that only you belong, and the public doesn't even see it. And I put it in, and that's how we communicated. And it's just super wicked easy.
Yep.
I love that piece of it.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Hmm.
Do you guys do YouTube, Instagram? Do you do Twitter?
So
I don't do Twitter.
YouTube, I have been posting on YouTube every Monday night since I started the Pet Pro Educators. It's not I don't have like a lot of viewers or followers. I think YouTube definitely is geared. I want to be there. That's where I want to get to over the next steps in my career. And so we're in the middle of a move again. Yes, I know. My husband called me out on this. Dara, we have moved 8 times in less than 10 years.
You sound military.
Still.
I haven't moved like
I'm like,
since we was in the military.
And it's not like we're moving like in the same town. We're moving like halfway across the state. So, but yes, we are moving. And once I get my office set up there, it'll be quiet. I'll have a little bit for recording and be able to set up my lights and everything. So that's really, I want to focus on that and post those more on social media the other way and generate that way. Because with YouTube, you can get the followers, and I don't know. I feel like it's not as
Judgmental.
I feel like it's more professional.
Yes. And
Yeah.
what about LinkedIn? Do any of you use LinkedIn at all?
I have my professional LinkedIn page, and again, once I get it active, I'm not as active on it, but
I did it
those
when I
are-
ran for office, but not for grooming. Yeah.
I got you.
Those are the two.
I've got a
And
presence
that's funny
there,
you
but
should
I don't
ask
do
me
much.
that.
Well-
I just updated my LinkedIn today and looked at it and said, "Oh, I got to do some work on this again."
So when I look at social media, like Facebook is adults, a lot of adults, a lot of
Yeah. Young people really don't do Facebook anymore
Right.
that much. Yeah.
LinkedIn is professional.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
get into YouTube, God knows, and then you get into Twitter and Instagram, and that just seems to be the younger kids for me.
Yeah.
It just seems to be the teens and the 20-year-olds.
Instagram for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it depends on what genre and what age group you're trying to connect to about where you post and what you use the best. LinkedIn is probably one of the best professional
Mhm.
platforms out there. And I
yeah.
do not use it near enough. And I need to go out every freaking week and post out there and start using it. But I have people that find me through all of that stuff.
So Latifa, would you want to do an accountability check with me?
what does that mean?
Like that we're keeping up with this stuff. Because that's the thing. That's what happens. No, yes. Shut up. Listen to me.
No, that
I'll be
means
your accountability partner.
By the way, we have a Russian, just so you know,
I know.
Dara, we have a Russian speaking spammer in our Facebook group.
oh,
I mean,
I wasn't
in our chat
sure.
room. In our chat room, we have a Russian speaking.
oh, TikTok is getting a huge, and I found tons of groomers. See, I don't know anything about TikTok either, and I don't know what age groups are looking at TikTok.
A lot of
So
cute
you know
videos.
what?
People make
TikTok-
cute videos and post them.
Yeah, TikTok is growing. You're getting an old, you know, I say older, people my age, more on there, you know, but it is it's basically it. The thing with TikTok though is that TikTok is not something where I can know where you're at and go and look at your content.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
you gotta
You
kind of
can,
look search more for it.
Right.
but you can follow people. You can be
You
on
can-
TikTok and follow someone.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
follow them, but it's still
But
because
isn't it
it's a
shorter
watch a video
clips?
swipe, watch a video
Yeah,
swipe,
short clip.
watch a video
Yeah.
swipe. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yes. And I think for social media takes so much time.
Yes, exactly our point tonight.
It takes time. And I wish I had 2 days just to sit still at the computer and update the website, get everything relinked.
Yeah, I can't.
And it's so time. I'm on the mobile phone and it's like, okay, I'm going to post this out now to Facebook, done. And now that it goes out to Instagram, I get notices from Instagram daily and I don't know how to use a damn thing. I don't know hashtaggy thingies. I've just never taken the time to learn that stuff. And
Me
it would
too.
be,
What did I miss something?
Instagram. Yeah, that she just
I
doesn't.
mean,
Oh,
I've
so
never-
I use Business Suite and I post everything to Instagram and Facebook right away. It's the same post and I can hashtag them both. And that's the only way I post. But I don't do it on my phone. I only do it on my desktop
and
because
I only use
depending
the
on
phone.
depending
Wait,
on
how do you
the-
tell Facebook to post to both Facebook and Instagram?
It's called Business Suite because Facebook owns Instagram and they're
Right.
connected now.
Mhm.
And so
Right,
if
you
you
can link
download
them.
the app Business Suite,
Yeah.
you can post to both. It saves all my hashtags. So I don't have to, I
But
actually,
you have to do it
because
on your phone.
So-
you can do it on your phone. You got it
Yep.
there, Latifa.
So
Yes, I
Me,
can't see it.
right
All I do is-
hold
Okay.
on. Wait a minute. See where it says
There you
Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you post something here and I'm on the phone and this is the Business Suite, and this is what it looks like when you're out on the app, it'll just say, hold on.
Hold on, let it clear up here.
There. Business
There it is. In the middle, it's look like a little
the-
pie.
Yeah, it's the gray. It's
gray
the gray one, and the second from the
Yep.
bottom over
Yep.
to one
Yep.
to the left.
And I can switch accounts. So I go between the academy, my Animals Can Talk professional, my personal Latifa Mina, and I can go in there and I'm telling you, people send me shitloads of messages through there. I get a crap load of messages and I have to stay constant on that because people use that. Hey, I'd like to set up a session. When can I get on the calendar? And so
Yeah, I actually make a policy of saying in all of my social media and my websites that if you want an appointment at my shop, you got to call.
oh God,
Yeah,
I never-
see,
I
and that
cannot
doesn't work.
book through social media. It's too much.
We book more clientele on online scheduling than anything because people want instant gratification. They don't
Okay.
want to talk to people anymore.
but let's talk about that. So
Yep.
online scheduling, the groom shops would be a little different because you've got the schedule posted out there and you know that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're in the shop these certain hours. So people go to the website, oh, look, this time and date's open. I'm going to put Rocky in here for whatever. And they actually schedule the appointment, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's a request, and we have to
So they
accept
send a
it.
request because they don't know
Yeah.
how long their dog is going to take, all
Right.
those intricacies. It needs to be
Yep.
approved.
And so what platform are you using to do that?
So we use our software 123 Pet is what we use at the school. But you can do that on Square. My hairdresser uses Square, and I can go on and just schedule online. It gives me their names of all the all the beauticians that she has hired and their times available for a cut and foil, cut and, for long hair, short hair, and you just put it right in and.
Okay. And I think for me, you guys have local clients. What's difficult for me is I get somebody that calls me from Texas or California or Japan.
For the time change.
Or Mexico. So when somebody contacts me, my immediate first question is, what time zone are you located in, please? Yeah. Because knowing where they're at makes a difference about how I schedule them. I've got a lady now, we're trying to get scheduled to do an 8 a.m., 8 p.m. for Japan. I think it's
I had to schedule people for Australia. Same kind of idea. Like, okay, I'm Eastern time, it's like a 14-hour time difference.
Yeah.
Because the podcast version is global versus like my little house call business, which is micro local, which is why I had to separate them out so much.
Right. Yeah. I can't wait. Well, we're going to talk about podcasts because I'm like, I need to do that.
So I gotta say, I really love the podcast. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people are either unsure about podcasts or they think that podcasts are all interview shows. So I find that I really have to sell it. Like, listen, I have this online resource for you that is instructional. And I come up with something every week. It's only about 20 minutes. You should be able to put in headphones and dry a dog and hear about this particular topic. And that's what usually hooks people.
I'm going to stop you just because we're like 12 minutes over. And if we're kind of changing subjects, I'd rather go off the clock for that. But if anybody has any last minute comments on social media, do we want to continue this conversation?
I think so. I just, in fact, sent a note to Quincy. I have her on my Facebook and see if maybe we can get her on next week, because what she does is she works through Facebook and Instagram. Okay. And so I will touch base with her between now and Monday and see if I can't get her on.
Okay. It'd be interesting. I wonder, Latifa, if Erin would want to also, because she kind of does a lot of this. And she's not in our industry. So having somebody maybe from outside of our industry also on to give a insight might be good too.
Sure.
So we could do half and half.
Yep.
Chrissy, what's your podcast name?
Creating Great Grooming Dogs.
Creating.
Yeah. I like it. Good deal.
Okay. Anna, Chrissy posts it in our she's supposed to be posting it every week when she launches it in the instructor and graduate page. So you should be able to access it there to get on and start following it, because it did ask.
If not, you can go to the creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com or just a Google search. It's anywhere you can find a podcast. It should be there.
Yeah, I've got I've got a crap load of questions. So yeah.
All right, we'll get on.
Another way of using social media. Podcasting is also social media.
Yeah, and it's
a radio show, much like this is a live stream.
Yeah, got to do that. Got to get okay. All right, one more thing to do.
Yeah, right. Another thing to do, but that goes on to your social media pages too. So it kind of.
I hope the biggest takeaway tonight is for everybody on social media to just realize that you really should just be very careful and manage it as you would like you're a professional PR person, that anything that goes on social media is going to be seen by everybody, everywhere, anytime, forever and ever. And you just need to be really, I think the best advice for most people on social media is just manage it like a PR professional would manage an image. You want to protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, that's exactly true. That's very true.
And you just need to be really, the image. You want to protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, that's exactly true. That's very true.
And you just need to be really, the image. You want to protect yourself at all times.
Yeah.
Oh, we're echoing.
Where's that coming from? I was like, wait a minute.
Feedback loop.
Feedback from somebody. Okay, I'm going to end this. Stay tuned next week, everyone. We'll see if we'll have a couple guests on to tell us some more and get us a little bit more savvy on our social media. Ooh, I'm going to write that down.
Next month in February.
Social media. I like that title.
Everybody have a good week. Stay warm.
Yeah.
And safe.
It's cold here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Up here in Michigan too.
Yes, I bet.
Yes.
New
All right.
Hampshire.
Have a good night.